Make sure that don't come on there. This is the smartest freaking disease ever made by someone. I mean, some people are freaking tired. Some people have to be on ventilators. I mean, it hits you after 10 o'clock at bars in Michigan because it can be open till 10, but after 10, you got to close it down because that damn COVID's going to come through the door after 10. Do you think it's a man-made? Do you think it was man-made, or do you think it's a natural?
I don't know the answer to the question, honestly. I don't think it was intentionally made, but I'm not going to say that it couldn't have been escaped from a laboratory.
Right.
Because I think I think there's a lot of theories out there, and as scientists, again, we come up with a hypothesis, and you have to. And there was a great show. I don't watch CBS, I don't watch 60 Minutes, but I watched it Sunday night because there was a story on COVID, and I actually think they did a good job with it, where they presented the whole viewpoint of, did COVID come from bats or some kind of wildlife species that got into the wet markets in Wuhan, or did it escape from the laboratory in Wuhan? Because there is a high containment facility in Wuhan. And so, and I think one side of the argument is there's people saying, well, it must have come from nature because most of these viruses come from bats, or this is how it normally, these emerging viruses normally are transmitted from wildlife directly to humans. And so there's that argument. And then the counter argument that, I heard, Sunday was, and it has to be proven or disproven, is that what is basically, I guess the flip side is, what is the statistical probability that the virus emerges in a place that happens to have a lab that was working on viruses like that?
Right.
So basically, this laboratory was going out into the field, because virologists, we study viruses, right? So they were going out into the field, into caves in China, and they were bringing the bats back to that laboratory. And the bats are what harbors SARS coronaviruses. So, I can't say, and I don't think anybody can definitively say, that somebody in the lab, was working with was trying to recover a virus from a bat, what we call isolate a virus, or get a virus out of a bat, and then caught their own experiment, and then walked out into the public. I don't know the answer to that question. And I think that there's been several shows on that one Sunday where they were addressing that. What is the origin of COVID? How did it take off? And I think the one thing that both sides can agree on is that the Chinese government was not transparent.
No.
That, this perhaps potentially could have been stopped very early if they had been honest and candid and open.
Because when do they think it cropped up in China?
There's different theories now. I mean, originally I think everybody was saying December, but I've heard recently people were saying that as far back as September, October of 2019.
So they potentially kept the lid on it for 6 months.
But, who knows?
Right.
I read about it in December or January. This little area it was no big deal though, but it was just a story.
Yeah.
I can remember we were kind of poking fun at it. When it first, you start hearing about it in December and January, and you're like, oh, watch out for the Chinese flu. And then
it's the greatest terror attack ever put on the world if it was done on purpose.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
the timing was impeccable for an election, for everything. To be political for a minute, everything had to be done the way it worked out to have that ass clown we have in there now. I mean, I'm just telling you, that's what I'm going to tell you right now.
See, but I'm like you. I don't necessarily believe that it was manufactured to do what it did. I don't think you can.
I mean, I've worked with viruses my whole life. I don't think you can control. I don't think you can predict how a virus is going to behave in a huge population like that to have been intentional. That's just my own viewpoint. But, what is really frustrating as a scientist, we like to figure things out. Mm-hmm. I like to know why something like Ebola. I want to know why is it so bad? Why is it so dangerous? Why is it so deadly? And so for COVID, it's like, I want to know how it got into the human population. What happened? I mean, and it's so frustrating because I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to that question, because you have people hiding. It was clear that they were not cooperating with the World Health Organization. It was clear that, as a scientist, if somebody, we try to be forthcoming and we try to share our data. I mean, we're proud of our data. We want people to know about our data.
Yeah.
And here you're seeing the exact opposite thing.